In this video I'm gonna teach you how to recreate the Disney Plus intro in After Effects. You can download the project file in the description down below, making a new tutorial for each day of the year. Day 16 of 365. Let's import these assets, you can find them in the description. First, let's see the Disney intro. Here we have the logo to recreate the intro, so drop it in the composition. And first of all, we are going to adjust the position of the logo. So let's go here to the last frame of the video and let's adjust the logo. So I think the scale it was 137.5. Let's see, yeah, it fits perfectly. You can change very little the position with the arrow keys. That will help you to adjust more precisely. Now let's make the background. As you can see, the background is a gradient. It's like a radial gradient. So go here, select the rectangle tool and double click. This is to make a rectangle the size of your composition. So here in fill, select it and select here radial gradient. Press OK. And here I already have the colors. Let's rename the layer background and put this below the Disney logo. Now let's preview the original video. So you can see the point is like down below here. So let's move the point. Go here in background, in contents, select rectangle, and now you can change these points. So this point will be up here and this will be like down here. I'm going to put this really up there. Let's see. I'm going to bring it a little down, like that. And this I'm going to bring it even more down here. And let's review. Yeah, they are pretty similar. You can also adjust the gradient here, the midpoint. This is very important to match the color. Okay, we have the background, and now let's make the text. This is where it says original. We have to create a text layer. So go here, text tool, and create text layer and type original, all in caps. I'm gonna use the font Arial Bold. And let's go here in the end and let's position this text. And first let's see the original text. And here, as you can see, the animation is like a tracking animation for the text. They go from really close together to really far away. So let's make that same animation. And first we're going to make this space between animation. So open the text, go here in animate and add a tracking. You can see if you increase the amount of tracking, the letters will separate. So let's separate it a little bit. Let's make a keyframe. Let's put this keyframe more or less where the original video keyframe ends for its text animation. It's like here. Go when it starts, like here, and bring down this to 0, and we have to decrease it until you see all the letters together, like that. Okay, we have this, but it opens from the middle. So go to position with P and make a keyframe. Move this here, this keyframe here, and I'm going to put the O to be in the same spot than the other O. You can see it here. And now move back the keyframe. Go forward and move until the O is in the same position, like there. As you can see, we need more tracking, so I'm going to increase it a little bit, 48 maybe, and change the position. And you can see they are pretty similar. Now we have to change the speed graph. Let's easy all these keyframes, and now we will have to tweak the speed graph. First, let me adjust here the position. It's a little off, so I'm going to move it even more here, more, and even more, a little more, like that. There you have it. As you can see here at the beginning, the original intro, the text starts faster. You can see it a little blurry there. And then in the end, it's like slower. Let's zoom a little bit. Select these both keyframes at the end and go to the graph editor. Now move this handle a little bit to the left until you can barely match the original footage. And now let's see. Oh, here as you can see, we have to move this last keyframe a little forward because in the original doesn't end here, it ends like here. So let's move it forward and let's modify this. And there you go. Now let's enable motion blur for this layer to be like in the original, so toggle switches and enable motion blur. Now it should look pretty similar. There you go. We have this animation done. Now let's go with the next element. Let's animate this trail. So go here to the Disney logo and let's make a copy. So duplicate with Ctrl D and let's call this copy trail. Now with the pen tool, press G and let's solo the trail and let's trace the path. So make some points there and you can move the handles here to trace a really similar path. This is to make a stroke animation. There you go. Now let's add the effect stroke to make a stroke animation. Make sure that this mask you made is selected here and let's increase the brush size. So increase it until it covers the trail and make sure that this stroke doesn't touch other elements like this plus symbol of the logo. Increase brush hardness to 100% and decrease spacing to 0. This is to have a smoother stroke. Now change here where it says on original image to reveal original image. Now this stroke will reveal the trail. It's time to animate it. So make a keyframe here in end. Press U to see the keyframe. And now let's go to the original footage. So we'll add markers. You can hide the trail for now. We will add a markers to the final frame of the trail here when the trail is completed. Made a marker here in trail, right click, markers, add marker. And now find when it starts. So go here in the beginning and when the trail starts like here, make another marker. Now press U. In the beginning here, set 0 and move the first keyframe with it to here in the end marker. Okay, now let's see the trail. Okay, now it's time to match the speed. Let's see the original. As you can see here in the original, it starts really slowly. You can note that it starts slowly because if you go one frame to the other, the position change is really small. And here in the end, if you go one frame to other, the position change is bigger. So that means that it's moved faster. So we want to make that the trail starts slowly and then gets faster. So easy is the first keyframe of the trace with F9 and open the graph editor. Go to somewhere like here in the middle, show the trail and move it until it's at the same level than the original, like that. Okay, there you have it. And here in the end is like too fast, so we are going to drag this handle to the end like here, there, to match the other one. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the closer we are, the best is the result. We have the trail done, but it's like a little too obscure, so I'm going to add a extra effect to the trail. So let's add a exposure and let's increase the exposure to 1. Now it looks more similar. And now let's see what's the next thing we have to animate. Oh, and I almost forget that you have to mask the Disney, because here at the beginning you see there are two trails. So go to the Disney logo and with the pen tool mask only the Disney part. There you go. So it will not interfere with the other elements. Now it's time to animate the next element, that is the plus symbol. So make a copy of the Disney logo. Let's delete this mask and let's make another mask to the plus symbol. There you go. Let's rename this to plus and let's see the original footage. As you can see here, it is only a scale animation. Goes from scale 0, overshoots a little bit, and then goes back to 100. So let's add some markers. Here it will be the scale 0, so make a marker here. Go to where it is at its biggest, like here, so make another marker here. And when comes back to 100, that it will be here, and make the last marker. Let's trim this layer, we are only gonna use this, and let's start animating with the S, the scale. So first go to the end and make a keyframe. Now go to the beginning and set the scale to 0. Oh, I forgot to adjust the anchor points, so now the scale works like this. So go here in the first keyframe you made at the end, and with the anchor point tool, pressing Y, grab the anchor point and move it to the center of the plus symbol. Now it will scale from the center. Let's continue. Okay, here makes a little overshoot, so let's scale up like here, and then it comes back. Let's ease all of these keyframes and let's modify the speed graph. Here at the beginning it looks like it takes more time to scale up, so we're going to move this a little forward and let's preview. Yeah, there you go. And the scale should be a little bigger here. Here in the end it takes more time, so I'm going to move the keyframe a little forward and move this handle back. There you go. So if you see here a little offset, that's because the whole Disney logo have a little of zoom. If you can see, a constant zoom through all the scene. That's why I don't move the plus symbol. So we finished the plus. Let's see how it looks for now. Oh, and I forgot about something, the text. So let's go here into text. Let's trim it until here. And let's animate the opacity. So go here to the original and make the first keyframe here at the beginning. This will be 0. Let's go forward and let's see when the O is already at the maximum opacity. So it should be something like here, and put 100 here. Now let's preview. Okay, this part is done. Now it's time to make the lights and the particles. So first we are going to make this light, the light at the trail. For this I'm going to use a star, so go here to your toolbar and select star tool. Make a star, deselect all the layers and make a star. There you go. Let's make this a solid color and let's change the star a little bit. So open here in Polystar, go to Polystar path, and here in points we want the star to have 4 points. So there you go, and let's decrease these numbers a little bit. So in inner radius we are going to use 2, and in outer radius we are going to use 33. Now let's rename this to trail light, and now it's time to add some effects. First we are going to add a Gaussian blur, increase a little bit to something like 3. And now let's add a glow. Decrease the glow threshold to 0, increase the radius to 21, and increase the intensity to 9. We are going to change here original colors to A and B colors, and here change the black color to something more like blue, something like that. Now let's duplicate this. Now for this duplication, change radius to 82, the glow intensity to 0.7, and change this color B to something more like cyan, like more greenish, like that, or even more. There. Now let's add a exposure effect. So let's add exposure and set in exposure to 0.6. This is to have a little more white at the center. And duplicate one more time the glow, move it below the exposure, and let's change the radius to 300 and the glow intensity to 1. And instead of A and B colors, select original colors. There you go. For now we are going to disable the exposure. I like it more how it looks without the exposure. And change the blue here of the first glow a little bit more like green. And it's done. Now let's animate this trail light. So now let's see the original footage. Let's see when it ends. Like here is the last position keyframe, so let's add a marker to trail light here. Marker, add marker. Now go backwards when it starts, and you can see it starts from here. This should be the first keyframe, so make a marker here. And now press P, go to the end, and make a keyframe. Oh, I forgot, center the shape with Ctrl+Alt+Com. There you go. And move it here at the end, like here. Now go to the beginning and move it here at the beginning where it starts. Now to make this path curvy, grab the pen tool with G and move this. Click and drag. Go to the end to see the whole trail and show the trail layer. There you go. And you should follow the trail layer. There you go. Here we have the animation, but we have to make it to be the same speed as the trail. So let's this is the first keyframe, is when it starts slower. This is with F9. And let's preview and let's adjust this handle. Like that. It should be a little faster, I think. There you go. Now, if you see in the original, the star have like a little rotation, so let's add that rotation too. We can easily do that with a auto orient. So right click your trail light layer, go to transform and select auto orient. Select orient along path and hit OK. You can adjust a little bit the rotation, press R and change here the rotation. And now let's preview. See that now we have its rotation. So now we have to animate here at the beginning a little scale up, and then it starts glowing, like glowing more. Also it have like a little flickering, if you can see here. So we will animate that. First let's start with the scale. So hit S and see when it's already at 100% scale, like here, I don't know, here. Make a keyframe there, and when it's at 0, like here when you can even see it, change the scale to 0. Let's show and let's preview. Okay, now let's animate the glow. So go to here glow, make a keyframe here for glow intensity, and let's see the original. When it's at the full intensity, it's like here, so put that keyframe there. And when it's at the lowest, it's like here, so change this to 3. And now show it and let's preview. And for the flickering, we are going to add a wiggle to this glow intensity. So I'll click the stopwatch and type wiggle 4,8. And now let's preview the full animation. So show all the elements and let's see. Okay, some things I see here. First, the scale is too much, so let's reduce it to, I don't know, 80 maybe, or 60. Okay, now that I make it smaller, you can see it's a little offset with the trail. So go to position and let's adjust a little bit here the handles. There you go. Now it's done. Let's continue. I think it should take even longer to scale up. So I'm going to move this scale up here. There you go. I think that is better. Let's see. Now at the end you can see in the original footage that it disappears. It disappears here. So let's show this and just trim the layer with Ctrl+Shift+D and delete this part. So now it will look like this. There you go. And now it's time for the almost final part. So now let's duplicate this tray light and press U. First, I'll click the glow intensity to disable the expression, and staying here in the end, select all the stopwatch, clicking all of them to get rid of all the keyframes. Now move this right here at the end, right click at the markers and delete all markers and move it here. This will be the plus light, so let's rename this plus light and let's move it down here. These two lights should be here below the Disney layer, so I'll move it here just above the background. And now let's see the original footage. Okay, as you can see here, the original, it's more like a circle, so we are going to change the shape and it starts here. So I have to move this a little bit here. There. Now let's convert this to a circle. So open the layer, contents, and here in Polystar path, delete it. Click here in add and add a ellipse. And move it here above the stroke one. There you go. Now let's change a little bit the effects. First, the Gaussian blur should be 50. Now it looks like a square, but we will fix it. Glow threshold set to 50. Glow radius to 150 and intensity to 50. Now scroll down, move the exposure here above the glow 2. Let's enable it. And now let's continue with glow 2. Here you have to change the radius to 500 and the intensity to 1. And then for this last glow, you can just get rid of it and delete it. And uncheck this box for Gaussian blur. Now it's a circle and not a square. There you have it. And now it's time to animate the scale of this. So press S and make a keyframe. Now let's see the original footage. This should start sooner. Here when it's to 0% scale. Let's see when is the bigger, like here. Add a marker here. And now go to when it disappears. When it completely disappears, so it's here. And add a marker. Set scale here at the end to 0. And at the beginning to 0.2. Now go here and it should match like the original footage scale, so let's bring it up a little more. There, yeah, something like that. And now let's ease all these keyframes. Okay, I think this is too much, so let me change a little bit. So here in Glow 2, increase the radius to 1000. Okay, here it takes more time, so we have to change this middle keyframe. So we'll make it to take longer here. So adjust the handles until you see they kinda match with the original footage. like here should be smaller, so move this handle. Now let's preview what we have. We are almost done. Oh, here I forgot, move the trail below the trail light. There you go. And let's preview. There you go. I think the lag is like too fast. Yeah, it disappears too fast. So I'm gonna move this keyframe a little forward to make it take more time and even more time. There. Now let's preview. There you go. Now let's animate the last thing. So go here in background and create a solid layer. This will be the particles. Let's add the effect CC particle warp and move these particles to where the plus symbol is, like here. See the original footage and see when the particles come out. It's like here. So let's trim the layer, delete the first part, and we're going to just have this part. Now I'll tell you what you have to change. So here in birth rate, change it to 5. Leave longevity like that. Here in producer, change all the radius to 0.02. 0.02. Here in physics, change velocity to 0.5 and gravity to 0.1. Go to particle, change the particle type to star, and in birth size, change to 0.02 and the same for depth size. In size variation, change it to 100, and now open here opacity map and make like a ramp down here. It doesn't have to be perfect, just make it like this. The last thing, change birth color to whites. There you have it. And now let's make a keyframe here for birth rate. This will be 0. Go one keyframe forward and change it to 5. Then go forward, something like this, and change it to 0 again. And let's preview. There you go. Now let's preview the whole animation, and we only have one thing more to do. And that thing is you have to select all the layers except for the background and pre-compose it. Ctrl+Shift+C, let's name this logo animation, and go here at the end, press S for scale, make a keyframe, go to the beginning and change the scale to 95. Now let's preview. And there you have the Disney logo animation. You can compare it with the original. Remember that you can download the project file with all the assets in the description. And I'll see you in the next one. See ya. Oh, 1 hour. Fuck. This will take me a fucking lot of hours to edit. But, well, 4 hours of streaming. Okay, I'll see you in the next stream.